So that past presentation was actually presented by 2 graduate students at American University last year with some editing to include more background on the case study for this audience because you haven't done the background reading. So what then the professor would typically do is add a few key messages, and this is what we found works best for testing. The students like to have a mix between lecture and these case studies because doing the homework to present the case study and then be engaged in the debate is something that takes a lot of energy. And the students find that a lot of what they propose as ideas for policy recommendations, if they don't have a lot of world experience yet, many of the students we find in an international development graduate program may have been to the Peace Corps, may have had some international experience, but not often very much. Suresh Babu, as a professional student, has had quite a lot of professional experience. So he's an unusual graduate student in our course. But we find that students want more guidance and more instruction for the course. So that's why including some teaching points when you do these cases is very helpful in addition to periodic lectures. And Pear has recorded 6 or 7 lectures associated with the course online. So one thing I did last year was I just assigned watching the online video, and then we would have a discussion about the lecture so that I didn't have to impersonate Pear Pinstrup Anderson, which would have been great fun, but duplicative. So, okay. So some key messages that could be included on the test, hint, would be that if we're thinking about poverty reduction, one reason to work with smallholders is because there's a very large population of them in India. There may be disincentives to work with smallholders because it may be more inefficient, there are more barriers to involving them in the markets, but it's a very large population, and given the Millennium Development Goals, working with this population has many advantages. The other piece that is useful to think about compared to other types of agricultural goods is that high-value food commodities have a lot of unusual characteristics. These are that they're very profitable compared to other materials like staple grains, for example. They're perishable and require quick transfer or cold storage to market outlets. So they are produced sometimes quickly, and there can be quick turnaround for profit, but they also need to get to market quickly. So people need to have that infrastructure connection and the electricity or cold storage chain. They require, as I stated, the well-functioning production to market chain. It's important to deal with food safety issues. If we're dealing with dairy or animal-sourced foods or fruits and vegetables, they can go bad quickly, and so it's important to make sure the food safety issues are taken care of. So as we're dealing with the option of working with producers associations, cooperatives, or other type of institutional arrangement, there are benefits to that for dealing with food safety regulation, because the food safety inspector won't go to all of these different small farmer plots. Women's involvement is often very high in the production and processing of these types of commodities. And in the case study, one thing that we'll discuss with in the debate is in the case it was said that production of high-value food commodities is pro-woman. And I think that's something I'd be interested in debating in the context of food security and nutrition. If we increase women's work opportunities, is that pro-woman, or does it just give women more opportunities to work? And is that pro-food security and nutrition? Debatable. And there's, in this community, we also know that there's a trade-off between using these types of foods for feeding the family and also for sale. And it can be resource intensive to produce them with inputs and labor. So it can use surplus labor, but also it can cost more and can have some environmental implications. So another testable thing could be, what are the different inputs that smallholder farmers could require or would require to be involved in these markets? And as I was thinking and preparing for class today, it occurred to me that we could have an acronym that is CITRUS. Smallholder farmers are vulnerable and have many barriers to participation in this production chain, but through institutionalization, they can have more access to credit, inputs, technology, risk reduction mechanisms, information, and services. So these slides will be on our class website, so you don't need to rush to write them down at the moment. So finally, what we'll do now in class is to look at what role the government can play. The government can be involved with regulation, providing incentives, and creating standards. So these are 3 key roles of government that we like to bring back each class period just to remind you. And the market in this case, left alone, is unlikely to work in favor of smallholders because the private sector needs incentives, and there needs to be better infrastructure to access smallholders and give them a better access to the market. So here we have the need for government intervention. If we want to involve smallholder farmers, we need to get to an effective policy action. And yet we're going to bring together some key stakeholders who can either make or break the success of the policy. And so what we're doing here with social entrepreneurship is we're involving these key stakeholders in the design of the government intervention so that there's increased ownership over what we choose to do, and hopefully everyone will feel a part of this decision-making process, and it will go forward smoothly. So we are going to bring back up the policy recommendations, and if our role players could come forward and sit on the dais here. I think we have 2 private sector representatives, so if you can find each other and sit together and be a block, that would be good. I think we have 2 small farmers, or representatives of smallholder farmer organizations. We have an academic researcher, and we have a permanent secretary from the government. And I will represent the National Planning Authority.